Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Combine. I am back and not better than ever. I'm actually having a horrible weekend. The Bucks ended up losing to the Lions in horrific fashion, and I have no words. Anyways, we're going to be talking about the NFL in just a minute, followed by a little bit more sports talk that I'll keep a secret for now, just to keep you on the edge of your seat. We'll be right back after this break, though, so don't go anywhere.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
So, as I mentioned, this past weekend, we had a little bit of the NFL divisional round, I should say all of it, and it was very disappointing. But before we dive into our predictions for the NFC and AFC championship, let's go ahead and recap what happened this past weekend. So starting off, the Texans went into Baltimore to take on the Ravens, and unfortunately they lost in horrific fashion, and after they had an excellent wild card performance, they stunk it up. And the Ravens are moving on to their first AFC championship appearance in franchise history, I believe. Yeah, 1971 was the last time they made it, which is insane. Later on Saturday, we saw a nail-biter between David and Goliath, the Packers and the 49ers. And although it was a close matchup, I think David proved to the rest of the league that Goliath isn't unstoppable. They're not invincible. I think they can be beaten. And after that on Sunday afternoon, at Ford Field, we saw a matchup between my Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions, in which Baker Mayfield put on one heck of a performance, but unfortunately he could not capitalize. The Lions are heading to their first NFC Championship appearance since 1991. And lastly, we saw what was supposed to be the match of the year, which turned into the match of who can make the least mistakes. Pat Mahomes and company ventured into Buffalo to take on the Bills, and it ended in heartbreaking fashion for all Buffalo fans, men crying like babies in the stands, as Tyler Bass missed a 44-yard field goal that could have tied it up and potentially sent the game to overtime. So here we are. We have conference championships in front of us. We have the Chiefs venturing into Baltimore to take on the Ravens up first. So I wanted to go ahead and start with that. I really think Baltimore takes this. I think Kansas City's good, but I really think Baltimore takes it because of the front seven. Front seven is devious even. Oh, my Lord. Justin Maddie is sitting in there. Jadeveon Clowney, who's been fantastic, is sitting there. The linebacker core of Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, everybody there has been interception monsters throughout the entire regular season. I will say they did not put up any sacks last game against the Texans, but there was great pressure. Texans were only allowed 3 points on offense all game. It was phenomenal work by the Ravens defense, and after watching Pat Mahomes carve up a Buffalo defense, I think he's going to get a really rude awakening when he goes into Baltimore. But what do y'all think?
Cap.
Cap?
Nah, bro.
I mean,
0
sacks.
sacks.
You're right, because I don't want to see Mahomes in another Super Bowl. But I don't know if the NFL will let that happen. I mean, it seems like the Chiefs' year with, Taylor Swift and the whole Travis Kelce thing. It just seems like their year. I don't know if the NFL will let Mahomes not be in the Super Bowl this year.
I'm on Ty's side with the Ravens. I don't think it's cap at all.
Yeah.
They weren't able to contain Josh Allen whatsoever.
Yeah.
He had 72 rush yards, and I think for the game, the Bills had 182 rush yards.
Oh, yeah.
And now you're going to go in and play Lamar Jackson, who I think is a more talented runner. I mean, they're both obviously top of the line. I don't see them at all being able to control Lamar Jackson on the ground.
No, exactly.
I like the Chiefs' defense. It just wasn't enough against the Bills. I just don't know if it'll be enough against the Ravens.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't mind the Chiefs' defense whatsoever. Like, I think their DB room is fairly good. It is going to hurt that they lost Mike Edwards last night in the game, but I don't know if the front seven is going to be, I should say, disciplined enough to take on Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar is the player that if you do not play him exactly like you need to play him, he will beat you, whether it's on the ground or whether it's through the air. He will find a way. He's just that talented right now. He's playing at the highest level, in my opinion.
I agree.
I really think he's going to carve up the Chiefs' defense. You're shaking your head over there, Jared. What do you got?
No. They had, Lamar could cut up the Chiefs. I don't know. I don't think he can, man. The Chiefs' defense is so good. It's so much better than the Texans' defense. And the Texans' O-line is so much worse than the Chiefs' O-line. And they, like you said, the Ravens had 0 sacks last week against the Texans' O-line. What are they going to do against Creed Humphrey and
Trey Smith?
Trey Smith,
Joe Tooney.
Joe Tooney, there you go. That was the name I was looking for. I mean, bro, it's gonna be hard. So, I mean, Jadeveon Clowney has kind of been struggling lately. Justin Madubuike is a freaking beast, but I don't know, man. I think they're gonna struggle, and I think Mahomes takes it.
With the Ravens D-line, most of the time, if you look at a D-line, say we're talking about the Packers, and you got Kenny Clark, sitting up front, that's a guy that you're gonna have to watch out for, and you probably are gonna have to double team. JB and Jadeveon Clowney on the edges in Baltimore, I think you have to double team both. If you really want a fair shot, they're both that talented.
I don't know, man.
In the
I
middle,
think
you got
Clowney's
Michael
kind of
Pierce,
washed.
and the linebackers are so good.
I think you have a fair point. Like, Ravens could very easily take
Yeah, and the Ravens have beaten a lot of really great teams this year by a
Not
fair
the
amount.
Steelers.
They killed the Texans 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So
it's shit over, buddy. It's shit over. You and me are in the same boat, dude. So
No! Like the Bills fan, I'm freaking crying into my hat.
But I think the only way the Chiefs could pull it out is if Andy Reid and Mahomes are on the exact same page the entire game. Because that chemistry between them and the ability to incorporate Rashee Rice to the degree that they have, and the way they've gotten Travis Kelce back into the game, I don't know if it was, romantic interactions that was keeping his head out of the game, but, something was going on. Something was happening, and he wasn't playing to his full potential. Pacheco's been awesome lately. Kelce's been awesome. Rashee Rice's been awesome, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the Ravens take it. And real quick, before we move on, I told Pat this was a spoiler, but score predictions. Jared, what do you got?
I got Chiefs winning 31-28.
Ooh,
I like that a lot.
Pat, what do you like?
Ravens 26-21.
Okay, I like it, Nick.
31-24 maybe. Make it a touchdown game.
Who wins?
You guys all have the Ravens?
Oh, wow.
I know I said
first
earlier.
Disgusting.
time the Chiefs would have given up 30 points all year.
Really?
I have 31-27 Ravens.
Ugh.
I have a close game.
So I'm the
but
only
I think
one that has
Ravens
the
take it, but
Chiefs?
Moving forward,
I switched
we
up.
got the Niners and the Lions, which I think is going to be the better of the matchups, actually.
Yes.
I think it's going to be the better of the matchups. The Niners had an off game against the Packers. They had an off game. I know Jordan Love played pretty well. I know the Packers played better than they should have. But that doesn't excuse the Niners from keeping it a 3-point game. That does not excuse it. They need to put up more points. They need to put up more stops. They need to do more against the Packers team. They need to make a statement. Because the Lions are walking into this thing after beating the Rams, who everyone thought was going to beat them. Then they beat the Bucs, who you can say what you want, but they've been on fire. And now they're going into San Francisco with a chip on their shoulder, and they're the most passionate team I think I've seen in this league. I think they could, this sounds so cliche, but I think they could win just based on heart, dude. I really think they could.
Well, if the Lions do their studying and watch film, I mean, the Ravens and now the Packers have set out the blueprint to beat the 49ers.
Yeah.
They just need to do some film and then play like they have been playing.
Yeah.
And it's their game to lose, in my opinion. I mean, Debo is injured.
Yes,
Trent
which is
Williams
huge.
is injured. We don't know who is going to play. But, some big pieces may not be in that game.
But here's the thing that stands out to me the most about the Lions is that against the Packers, they allowed, I believe, over 100 total yards for Aaron Jones through the air and on the ground.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is great. Aaron Jones is good.
Oh,
I
here we
like
go.
Aaron Jones.
He's pushing the narrative.
David Montgomery and
Oh,
Jahmyr Gibbs
there it
and
is.
the rushing game for Detroit are worlds better than the rushing game for the Packers have. I like the Packers. Let me say it one more time. I think they have a good run offense, but it's not as good as the Lions.
Yeah, it's true.
If the Niners are giving up that much yards on the ground to the Packers, I am scared to see what they do against the Lions. I'm scared to see what they do against the Lions. But real quick, score predictions, Jared.
No, go the other way. Go the other
Nick.
way. Go the other way.
high-scoring game, potentially.
Ooh.
I don't have a score, but definitely Lions rematch against the Ravens, in which the Ravens won. I have the Lions, maybe.
I'm getting real down and dirty and put my hands in the mud. I like the Lions winning 25-24 on a 2-point conversion at the end of the game.
Oh my God.
Pat, what do you like?
I'm going to go chalk. 49ers 28, Lions 24, but there's going to be 2 fake punts by the Lions. So.
I'm going 38-31, maybe scoregami. That'd be pretty cool. And I got Lions.
Wow. You heard it here first. My picks are right. Nobody else's is. We'll see what happens at the end of next week. Who's moving on to the Super Bowl? It's going to be awesome, but it's going to be the Lions and Ravens. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back talking a little bit of NBA right after this. Hello. My name is Ty Payton, and I am a licensed sports therapist. And today I'm here to help 3 people cope with their misfortunate teams. Maddie, when was the last time the Bears won anything?
I don't think I've ever experienced that feeling.
Maddie, the MVP is not a real award.
But it was voted on.
By kids, Maddie.
Yeah, it was a real award, and I think that's one thing that we can, we made history with that moment. We don't have to talk about Trubisky or the draft because I really don't like to think about that. It really just makes me, I'm sorry.
Now, Maddie, is Mitch Trubisky still with the team?
No. I'm not sure he's in the NFL. I know Mahomes is, and he was drafted ahead of him. Actually, Mitch Trubisky, it was a bad one. And now we have Justin Fields, who I had belief in. And the worst thing about sports, it's the hope it gives you.
Maddie, at times like this, sometimes we as fans like to hold on to what was.
Yeah,
but
my dad still talks about the 85 Bears like it was yesterday. I texted him yesterday. I was like, how about this Bears game? And he was just like, this is so sad. I watched with my neighbor's lifelong Bears fan. I watched with them. It was just, you can't describe the feelings that were showcased.
Welcome back to the Bombine, and right after talking some NFL, we are talking some National Basketball Association. That's right, baby, the NBA. And with me to talk about this is our lovely friends, Andrew and Maddie. And when I first brought this up to the producers, I wanted to take a full segment to talk about the rise of the Orlando Magic because, Lord have mercy, they made a crazy jump from last year to this year.
It was not that
ridiculous.
crazy.
It was awesome. And I really wanted to do one full segment on it, and then I realized late, okay, these guys might stink. These guys might be bad right now. What's going on? And then last night, beat the Miami Heat.
Can I explain why they were bad?
Can you explain why they're bad? I brought Maddie Glass here to explain why they're good. She's an avid hater of everything.
No, I meant why they
why they struggle.
Okay, they were on a little bit of a struggle situation. I think we're back to normal. Franz came back last night. Franz was out for a while. He's our second best player, sometimes our first best player. So that it's good to see them play like they did last night and realize, okay, we're still good when we're full, Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was ridiculous how I got invited out to a Magic game a couple weeks ago, and I didn't expect anything from it because I don't really watch that much basketball, right? But I went expecting, 2 fans and a tumbleweed because, I've heard all this stuff about, the Orlando Magic not being too hot. And I went, and the place wasn't sold out, but it was pretty bad.
No, the arena, the Kia Center has been great this year. It's been really fun. And the fans are coming out. But, yeah, I like the Magic,
Public service announcement, man. I'm so disappointed that they changed the name of the Amway Center.
No, it's the Kia
Center.
Center.
Yeah, it'll forever be Amway Center in my heart, man. That's what it is. My tickets to Travis Scott in a week say Amway Center on them. And,
then you're not getting in.
It's very fair. But regardless, I think one of the biggest players that has done a lot for this team, obviously you said Wagner has been awesome. He's potentially their number 1 at certain times during the tenure.
It's Paulo.
But it's Paulo.
Yeah.
When I went to this game, very muted claps for everybody on that team. And all of a sudden, Paolo Banchero gets announced. And,
what game did you go to?
Everyone goes nuts. What'd you say?
What game did you go
to? Minnesota.
Oh, that was a bad game.
Yeah, we got steamrolled. It was
we?
really bad.
We?
Yeah, we. I'm
okay.
I live in Orlando. I kind of have to,
Paulo's been great. Definitely an all-star this year. hopefully. He's averaging like 22 points per game. His shooting numbers have improved, and he's just getting better every game, and it's been really fun to watch the Magic have like an actual star. And then Jared, you'll watch bets later and see that Jared thinks that Paolo Banchero is starting for the All-Star game. I disagree. He's coming off the bench, but it's a great step for us. And I think an important player has been Jalen Suggs, because he's the one player that's actually taking like a real leap. Like, we knew Paulo and Franz were good, but Jalen's come out. He's shooting 38% from three. Yeah. He's been amazing defensively. So I think that's like the key. He's the heart of the team.
He has been really, really good.
He plays really hard.
And when they announced Jalen Suggs, I was like, who's this guy? This guy stinks. And then he came out. And he played great.
No, he's a great player.
In the Minnesota game, he had a good game. Surprising.
He's from Minnesota.
Revenge tour at home.
Yeah.
We love to see it. Anyways.
The schedule lightens up, so hopefully we get on a roll after we beat the Heat. You're a Heat fan.
I'm also a Heat fan. It's rather.
I thought you just said you were a Magic fan.
Well,
everyone in HTF is fans of like 6 different teams.
Okay, for the viewers at home, you got to understand, if you live in a town, you're morally obligated to give some kind of credit to that team.
Agreed.
You have to. But at the same time, you can have your favorite team. My favorite team is the Heat. The minute I get out of Orlando, I'll spit at the feet of Paolo Banchero. Get out of here, man. You're terrible. But while I'm living here, I'm a pretty cool guy,
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing bad to say about him while I'm here.
Yeah.
But Magic have been good.
Yeah.
I wish I could say they've been great.
They have not been great.
After being great, they tank. And so we're just, fingers are crossed that we don't end up, missing the playoffs and stinking it up again. But Mr. Andrew, you have one other team to talk about today. What do you got?
Yeah, a team that I think has been great personally is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're currently the 2nd seed in the West, and they made a huge jump this season. From last year, making the play-in tournament but missing the playoffs. It's really sad for that team, but they've taken a huge jump this year. And they've seen a massive increase in production from a lot of their young players, which is really interesting to me because they're the 2nd youngest roster in the league. Yeah. But the 1st, 3rd, and 4th youngest rosters in the league in the Spurs, Hornets, and Trailblazers have the same amount of wins as the Thunder, which combined 29 teams. 29 wins, but over 7 times the amount of losses, 95. So significantly worse teams, but the Thunder have a good core young roster, and again, 2nd youngest roster in the league. I also wanted to specifically give 3 players their flowers. Jalen Williams, he's one of the best defensive players in the league, and not only that, he's extremely underrated. He's their 2nd best offensive player, and he's averaging 18 points per game while also being 21st in defensive win shares, which is extremely underrated. As a forward, you'd expect him to not be a crazy player in defensive win shares, but he's 21st in defensive win shares, and he's technically their best defensive player in a team that has Chet Holmgren, who's a 2nd player I want to give props to. Chet Holmgren, my favorite player on that team. He's a unicorn on offense. I've been watching him since Gonzaga. He's one of my favorite players in the league, and he does it on both ends of the floor. He is not only a unicorn on offense, but he averages the 4th most blocks per game in the league. And obviously, the last person I want to give props to, the best player on the team, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, he's my starter for the Western Conference. I know a lot of people want to say Steph Curry, but he's averaging 30 points per game for the 2nd consecutive season. And not only that, he is one of the best defensive players in the league. As a guard, he averages the most steals per game in the whole league, and he's also 34th in defensive win shares. So great defensive stats along with his offense. I think he's a great player, and he should be the starter coming out of the West as a point guard.
Jesus, that was awesome, man.
Do you think the OKC has a chance to
give this guy a ladle and a
go
spoon,
to the finals?
Dude. He's cooking. What's going on here?
So I do think they're a young roster, and that could hurt them in the playoffs. But in general, I think they have a good shot at making the conference finals at least. The West is wide open right now. The Timberwolves are the 1 seed. Who would have thought that would happen? So I think the West is wide open, and it could happen, but I wouldn't place any bets on it if I'm being honest.
All right. Time to answer this age-old question that has been placed in front of us, It's been gift-wrapped. All we got to do is open it, Will the Orlando Magic, not can they, but will they make the postseason?
Yeah. They'll make a play-in game.
Is that really the postseason, though?
Exactly.
They're the 8th seed. They'll be the 8th seed, 7th seed. If they play, it depends who they play in the play-in. I feel confident against certain teams. But they're on the track. They're like 2 years behind OKC. OKC had to lose in the play-in before they made a playoff series.
True.
That's how it goes. You can't skip steps.
Although I love Maddie Glass and her takes.
What do you?
And I want to hear your takes.
I'm a realist.
This guy's takes. Andrew's the best, dude.
As it comes to the Orlando Magic, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're at least a season away. If I'm being honest, the team is really
From winning a playoff series, yes.
From
They're gonna make
making
the playoffs. Look at the 10th seed. It's the Wizards and the Pistons. Like they're better than those
Pistons
teams.
definitely aren't the 10th seed.
The Hornets, like the Raptors are better than the Raptors. Like I don't see how they missed the play-in. If they missed the play-in, then like stuff has gone really wrong. There's no way they missed the play-in.
I don't think
they're above 500. They're not missing the play-in.
I don't think they'll miss the play-in, but I don't think they'll make it to the playoffs, like the actual like.
I don't know if we play the Heat in the playoffs. It's over. We're being the Heat.
Do you just think Paolo Banchero stinks? Is that what it is?
I mean, I am a Heat fan, so I'm a little inclined to think that. But I mean, he's a good player, I guess.
You scored 87 points last night.
Boo.
No,
well,
just kidding.
I think we can all take away a very valuable lesson, and that's that Charles Barkley, you got some competition on inside the NBA, dude. Andrew G's coming for your spot, man. But thank y'all for coming on and talking some NBA with me, and don't go anywhere because I'll be right back to absolutely take a dump on Todd Bowles in just a minute. Jack, buddy, why are you here?
I don't really understand why I'm here. I got called a delusional fan. I just don't understand why I'm delusional if I think Kirk Cousins had the best mustache in the league.
Well, Jack, buddy, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think anybody looks cool in handlebars.
But they're back, man. They're back.
They're not. They're not. Sometimes you just got to face the hard truth. It's right there in front of you. All these people, they're calling you delusional, but sometimes you got to worry about, am I projecting? Is it me? And in this
Let me
case,
tell you something, bud. It could never be me. Anything I say is factual and truth, and that's why the Vikings are going 16-1 this year.
Organization, you have to look at your roster and say, I've had Kirk O'Thuggins for 6 years. Maybe it's time to move on.
There is no moving on from Kirk Thuggins and Justin Jefferson.
Do you think that maybe this all started just because of a little disappointment?
Nothing has started. This is how I live, and I am not delusional. I'm a prophet.
We are back, apparently. No? Yes? Yeah. Okay. Well, just like that intro, somebody as a head coach was dookie yesterday, and that was Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles bowled another gutter ball. This guy stinks. I hate him. And just to show you how bad he is, I want to tell you about the disparity between two different head coaches. One great that has done so much for his team, and one, well, you've already guessed who the other one is. So let's just go ahead and dive into the good one for now. And this guy is going to be Mr. Dan Campbell. And this is the head coach of the Lions, if you weren't aware. And in order to tell you properly why he is a good coach and why he has done justice to his team, I got to take you back 3 years ago. 2021, technically 2, but Todd Bowles gets hired onto the team. Everyone calls him a lunatic because his first press conference with the team, he walks out and he tells everybody about how he's going to bite off kneecaps and how, everything's, we're going to embody the city of Detroit. We are awesome. In that year, he goes 3-13-1. Horrible year. Point differential of minus 143. If you didn't know what that means, out of all the points he put up, he got outscored 143 by opposing teams. Horrible year. Year later, he starts to really mesh with the team. He becomes a genuine leader. He cares about his guys, and you can tell he does. You can tell that these guys mean the world to him. Although I'll show you a different quote later, there is a quote that really caught my eye when I was going back and looking at his things. And he had told his guys while they were putting on pads, technically it's not this quote, but I'll tell you this one later. He told his guys while they were in practice in full pads that if I knew 100% for certain that I didn't have to put you in jeopardy to be ready for the games that we're going to have to play, I would not put you in these situations, but I have to. And his guys understood, and his guys played, and as you've seen throughout the past 2 years, they've performed to that level. For some unknown reason, this absolute maniac that was somehow given a head coaching job has meshed with this team and made them one, made them whole, and given them a reason to fight and try and pull out a win. 2023, if you could throw that graphic up one more time of Campbell in the 2021-2023 years. Other one. But he goes 12-5 2 years later. Thank y'all back there. You were great doing that. He has 2 playoff wins and counting, and he's got a point differential of 97. He's outscored from going from losing 143 points to opponents. He's gone to winning by 97 among 17 games of the regular season. That's ridiculous. For a 3-year span, no coach has ever done that. And just to illustrate how much this guy means to his team, just to close this out, you want to go ahead and throw that quote up there. At the very first day of camp, he told his guys, our legacy starts now. We're going to do something special, gentlemen, and we will never forget this season, ever. 12-5, 2 playoff wins, first playoff win since 1991. He has instilled a passion in this team that I have never seen before. I've never seen this before in all my days of watching football. Now let's go to a head coach who stinks. Head coach who he couldn't even dream of doing something like this. And that is Mr. Todd Bowles. And this guy, he's horrible. He's really bad. He inherits one of the greatest offenses in the National Football League with Tom Brady at the helm, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, everyone you would ever need on one team just to go 8-9. Go ahead and throw up that graphic right there about him being 8-9. Thank you. 8-9 is a record. 0 playoff wins, loses by 62 points with the greatest quarterback of all time under center. That's abysmal. You get Baker Mayfield, you come back, you bring back every piece you had just to go 9-8. Let me remind you, Dan Campbell, that coach of the Lions, had a team of rookies that everyone told him he took too early, that everyone told him wasn't fit to be in the NFL. Maybe not in the NFL, maybe to be a first-round pick, second-round pick, whatever the case. This guy's got a team of studs. He can't do anything. They go out and they sign Baker Mayfield. That's where this year came from, with a 38-point differential, the 9-8 record, the 1 playoff win. Baker Mayfield played amazing. He actually put up a better record than Tom Brady did, which is not to compare the two, but just to show how good of a year this one quarterback had. At the end of their most recent playoff game, could you go ahead and throw that Todd Bowles quote up there? They asked him what he wanted to do with Baker Mayfield. At the end of the year, whether he would bring him back, whether, he'd let him go, whatever the case was, he told Baker, I should say, he didn't care. He just had no passion for him, no empathy for the guy. He really could not care less. He said it's a business, and a business just makes decisions, and you got to live with it. I get it, but a few choice words that I can't use on this stream. But at the end of this game, right after Baker Mayfield threw one of the worst picks that I've seen him throw in his entire career, Bowles had a chance to give him one more opportunity and put a little bit of faith in him. Call a timeout, get the ball back with 30 seconds. You're down 8 points, 11 points, whatever it is. And instead of giving him that chance, he didn't call the timeout, let the clock ran, and instead had said they already had a field goal. There'd be 12 seconds left on the clock. Why postpone something? It's obvious, which is they lose. He has no passion for winning. At the end of the day, Dan Campbell is a great coach. Todd Bowles is a bad coach, but I want to leave you with this. A great coach can turn a good team great, but a great leader can turn a great team into a champion. And that's what I think Dan Campbell's doing with this team right here. I think it's time to get Todd Bowles out of office. I think he stinks. But I just got real mad after that game. I thought I should rant, and so I thought, who better than you? So I'd like to thank you for sitting and listening to me yell at you for 5-6 minutes about how bad this guy is as a coach and how horrified I am as a Buccaneers fan that we might have him for another year. But we will be back next week talking probably not the same stuff, but maybe so. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few short days, a week, somewhere around there. You get the gist.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap.